of that. Now, what I think the federal investigation stuff is doing, they're probably stockpiling a lot of information in this whole situation involving the WNBA. I believe a lot of information is being collected by the DOJ and by Trump administration to launch a major probe into the WNBA. Now, I would hate for something like that to happen, but the way Caitlin Clark is being treated in the WNBA.
The situation surrounding the WNBA continues to spiral, and the latest development has pulled yet another political figure into the conversation. Following a string of controversies, both on and off the court, many tied to how the league has handled Caitlin Clark's presence, federal voices are growing louder, and the noise is not dying down anytime soon. Connecticut Senator Richard Blumenthal has gone on record calling for a federal investigation into the sale and relocation process of the Connecticut Sunday. The franchise was sold in a reported $300 million deal to the ownership group behind the NBA's Houston Rockets, with the team set to be rebranded as the Houston Comets, a nod to the original dynasty squad that dominated the early years of the league under Cynthia Cooper and Cheryl Swoops, winning 4 consecutive championships. Pending final league approval, the renamed franchise is expected to begin playing at the Toyota Center alongside the Rockets ahead of the 2027 season.
I would hate for something like that to happen, but the way Caitlin Clark is being treated in the WNBA, it needs to happen. I just got to be honest, man. And I believe the Trump administration is about to come down with a screwdriver, nail, and hammer to the WNBA very, very soon. It's almost like we just sitting back waiting for a ticking time bomb to explode. Now, like I stated in the beginning, there is another senator that has presented an argument to the media about the current state of the WNBA.
Blumenthal's demand for an investigation reflects the growing frustration among Connecticut officials and the broader fan base, though legal experts have noted that blocking the relocation outright is unlikely. Still, the senator's stance signals that the level of political scrutiny aimed at the WNBA is building from multiple directions. Indiana legislators previously raised concerns over officiating, and federal figures have been circling the league's decision-making for several months now. The theory circulating is that the Department of Justice and the current administration may be quietly collecting material ahead of a larger, more formal probe into how the organization operates. The Connecticut Sun issued a public statement on March 30th, acknowledging the weight of the moment for the franchise's supporters.
NBA. This article was released a few hours ago, and it stated, Senator slams the WNBA thumb on the scale in Sun's relocation. The Democratic senator wants a federal investigation into the sale process of the Connecticut Sun, bro. Yes, you guys heard me correctly. My dude want a full-blown investigation into how that sale went down, and I just got.
The organization recognized the decades of loyalty from its fan base and framed the transition as part of the league's ongoing expansion, while expressing a commitment to honoring what the Connecticut chapter of the team represented. The Boston relocation option that had been discussed previously did not materialize, leaving Houston as the destination. The general read on the situation is that the move is happening regardless of political resistance, with those pushing the deal appearing indifferent to governmental pressure. On a lighter note, Samuel L. Jackson took to social media to show appreciation for Caitlin Clark, referencing their upcoming commercial project together.
Investigation into how that sale went down, and I just got to be honest with you guys. I believe he got every right to do that. Connecticut officials are breaking fire over the WNBA Sun being sold and relocated to Houston to become the Comets, and Senator Richard Blomblacker is calling for a federal investigation, but experts say it's unlikely the move will be blocked. The scale of the Sun tribe of, I'm not even finna do it. The company that owns the NBA Houston Rockets was announced Monday.
The post drew immediate enthusiasm from Clark's fan base, with supporters referencing his iconic Coach Carter role in the replies. The commercial had not officially dropped at the time of the post, but was expected to surface shortly. The relocation of the Sun is being viewed as another difficult chapter for a league already navigating heavy scrutiny. Commissioner Cathy Engelbert is expected to remain in her role through all of it, and the organization appears locked in on seeing this move through regardless of the backlash. What the long-term fallout looks like politically, legally, and from a public perception standpoint remains very much an open question.
I'm not even finna do it. The company that owns the NBA Houston Rockets was announced Monday under the agreement, reportedly $300 million deal, man. So this isn't the first time a senator has come forward in regards to the WNBA. We have seen Indiana senators say something about the referees. We have seen countless media people speak about the current state of the WNBA. But as of right now, this whole situation evolving.
What follows is a full prediction of every player expected to come off the board in the WNBA expansion draft, broken down team by team, covering both unrestricted free agents and rostered players likely to be left exposed. Two teams that almost certainly will not lose anyone are the Chicago Sky and the Las Vegas Aces. The Sky situation is straightforward. The organization traded picks and pick swaps specifically to guarantee no player could be claimed, treating Hailey Van Lith as more valuable than anything the expansion draft could offer in return. Zero movement from that roster is essentially locked in.
But as of right now, this whole situation evolving, the WNBA is getting very, very interesting to the point to where now we have another federal senator talking about this, and I believe this whole situation is going to come to a head at some point in time, man. And it's just crazy to me, man, that we're still dealing with this, man. And it says pending league approval, the franchise is expected to begin sharing the Toyota Center with the Houston Rockets for the start of the 2027.
The Aces are in a similar position by default. The only asset realistically available to them is the restricted free agency claim on Kirsty Burrell-Bell, and there does not appear to be serious interest from either expansion team in making that move. Moving to the unrestricted free agent selections, the Toronto Tempo are widely expected to land Bridget Carleton, but that red is probably off. Carleton is more likely to arrive via open free agency rather than through an expansion pick.
Again, sharing the Toyota Center with the Houston Rockets for the start of the 2027 WNBA seasons. The Connecticut Sun will be renamed back to the historic Comets. The original Houston Comets was led by Cynthia Cooper, Cheryl Thompson's first 4 championships, and were known for the first WNBA dynasty, man. Then it goes on to say Connecticut enraged over the WNBA move to Houston. The Connecticut Sun PR department put out a statement this morning on March the 30th, which this is a couple of days old.
The player the Tempo are more likely to claim is Ezzie Magor out of Seattle. This feels less like a Canadian identity move and more like a Sandy Brondello football going after a quality player she knows and trusts. That is expected to be the only player Seattle loses through this process. The Portland Fire, meanwhile, are projected to use their max slot on Azar Stevens, who was always going to leave the LA Sparks, regardless of how the protection decisions played out.
This morning on March the 30th, which this is a couple of days old, and it stated the Connecticut Sun organization understands how emotional this moment is for our fans and community. You have made a home for this franchise for generations, and we are grateful for the passion and support that made us a cornerstone team in the WNBA. While the league continues to grow and evolve, our commitment is to honor this legacy. Now, we know that they was trying.
On the Indiana Fever side, the projected protected group includes Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, KK Timpson, and Kelsey Mitchell. The one player expected to be claimed from Indiana is Chloe Bibby. There is a minor possibility Christy Wallace gets selected instead, but Bibby is the more likely outcome of the two. The LA Sparks picture comes into focus once Stevens is already off the table.
Worth more than any other pick. Any of the picks they can get in the expansion draft or in the actual draft. Another team that I don't think anyone's going to be taken from is the Las Vegas Aces. The expectation is that the only player that they are going to have the rights to that's going to be available is the restricted free agency rights to Kirsten Bell. And I don't think Kirsten Bell is going to be one of those players that a lot of teams are that excited for, to be honest. I don't think we're going to.
The expected protected names are Kelsey Plum, Rakia Jackson, Julia Lamo, and potentially Diarra, though Diarra may have been cored twice already, which complicates things. The player most likely to be taken from Los Angeles is Ray Burrell. The perception of Burrell tends to outrun the production. She is 25 and entering what should theoretically be a prime stretch, but over her career, including what was arguably her best individual season, she averaged around 5.6 points per game on a non-playoff team.
To be honest, I don't think we're going to see people being that hyped for Kirsten Bell. I could be wrong, but I don't see her being taken. So, first team we are going to look at is, we are going to look at the India. We're going to talk about actually the expansion players. And this is one of the things where, it's not the expansion, it's the unrestricted free agents. And I think the first UFA that's going to be taken is going to be taken by the Toronto Tempo.
That is not the profile of a player too valuable for an expansion team to claim as a restricted free agent. At the Phoenix Mercury, the protection decisions appear to center around Satu Sabally, Kalia Copper, Monica McNutt, Alyssa Thomas, and Kahani Brown. The reasoning for choosing Brown over Natasha Mack is financial. Brown's contract structure makes her far too valuable to leave exposed, meaning Mack is likely to be taken. The player predicted to go from Phoenix is Kat Westbrook, whose shooting profile and modern fit make her an attractive foundational piece for a new franchise.
By the Toronto Tempo. And a lot of people are saying, oh, it's going to be Bridget Carleton. I don't think it's going to be Bridget Carleton. I think she's going to go there in free agency. I think this is a bit of a different link. I think this is going to be the player that they're going to give a max contract to. And it is a Sandy Brondolo link, more so than a Canada link. I think they're going to take Izzy Magbagor. I think the Toronto Tempo are going to take Izzy Magbagor as their unrestricted free agent. That is who I believe is going to be taken.
Beyond Mack, there is also a strong case for Clara Holm being claimed. The 26-year-old Swedish guard has been one of the better rebounding guards in European competition, putting up strong numbers for Girona this season and delivering in big moments. She is the kind of player international scouts have been monitoring closely, and her right sitting with Phoenix could make her one of the more intriguing names on draft day. The Minnesota Lynx are not expected to generate much expansion draft activity
by them, and I think it's going to be one of the Storm's picks. I think there's not going to be another pick from the Storm. I think this is going to be the only pick from the Storm in the entire expansion draft. I think the other player that's going to be taken via the unrestricted free agency is going to be a player who had last played for the LA Sparks, and it is going to be
Carleton is likely headed to Toronto on her own through free agency. Jalen Sherrod and Cameron Taylor are not considered strong targets. The two players most worth protecting appear to be Maria Kondova and Dorcas Butts, with Anastasia Kosu possibly being the one name left available. Kosu averaged under 2 points per game last season, but the underlying profile is appealing: big, athletic, strong defensively, and only 20 or 21 years old.
Is going to be a player that is going to be the max contract for the Portland Fire in Azare Stevens. And if you guys agree, or if you guys just enjoy the content, please subscribe. We are 31 subscribers currently off getting to 58,000, and we're trying to hit it by the expansion draft. We have got about, what is it? It is 18 hours to hit it. So about 2 an hour. That would be absolutely insane. But I think the Portland Fire are going to take Azare Stevens.
She is 2.5 years younger than players like Olivia Miles or Diamond Miller entering this draft class. The ceiling is genuinely interesting, even if the current production does not reflect it yet. Two players are projected to be taken from the New York Liberty. The first is Maureen Johannes, whose 7.4 points per game last season dramatically undersells what she is capable of in a system built around her strengths.
2 an hour, that would be absolutely insane. But I think the Portland Fire are going to take Azare Stevens. After this, I don't know what way the draft works, so I'm going to just predict the players that are going to be drafted. I don't think this is going to be a situation where I don't know how they're picking it. I really don't know what way this works. But so let's look at the Indiana Fever. Of protected players, I predicted that the protected players will be Caitlin Clark, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, KK Timpson, and...
In a freer offensive environment, double-digit scoring averages are entirely realistic. The second is Raquel Carrera, who has been one of the more talked-about international players heading into this draft. She averaged 13 points per game off the bench at Eurobasket for Spain, has been putting up 10 per game in EuroLeague for Valencia this season, and performed well against Team USA in international play. 6'3", smart, shoots from range and rebounds at a solid rate.
And Kelsey Mitchell. And I think there's only going to be one player selected, and I think it will be Chloe Bibby. There is a chance that Christy Wallace is selected. I don't know how high that chance is, but I'm going to predict that only Chloe Bibby gets taken. I don't know which expansion team it'll be, but I think that Chloe Bibby is probably going to be taken in the expansion draft. Next, we're going to look at the LA Sparks. So Azare has already been taken.
She could end up being this year's version of the Ileana Rupert pick, a selection that looks better and better over time. The Golden State Valkyries are expected to lose a minimum of 2 players. Kate Martin is considered almost certain to be claimed regardless of how the protection decisions shake out. 4 points per game, dependable role player, and genuine jersey selling value for a new market. The second pick out of Golden State is projected to be Letitia Amaher, with Toronto making the move to land a Canadian player through this route.
Next, we're going to look at the LA Sparks. So Azare has already been taken. For the LA Sparks, I have predicted that their protections will be Rickea Jackson, Dearica Hamby, Kelsey Plum, it's going to be Rickea Jackson, Kelsey Plum, because I think Dearica has been cord twice. So Rickea, Kelsey Plum, depending on Dearica, cord twice, Julia Alamond, and it doesn't even really matter. I think one of the quote-unquote stars is a player that the Sparks can't really afford to keep, and it's going to be
The read on Amaher is that her numbers have consistently undersold her actual impact. She is athletic, effective, and has legitimate upside that a new franchise could develop. If the Indiana Fever held pick 25, there would be a reasonable argument for them to trade a second rounder to acquire her rights before the Tempo get there, but that window is likely closing. Helena Puello is the player forecast to be taken from the Connecticut Sunday.